The Irish travel to Fayetteville to play the Arkansas Razorbacks for the first time in program history. All that and more on a brand new Shamrock Sports starting right now. Welcome inside the Duncan Student Center here, second floor, coming to you live. Myself, Ben Rohr, coming alongside McKenna Andrew and a good new buddy, Zach, over here. First time on the show, very excited to have him. Guys, another massive football weekend for the Irish, this time on the road. After 2 home games, the Irish head down to Fayetteville to play the Arkansas Razorbacks. But we're going to start with last weekend, where the Irish pick up their first win of the season against the Purdue Boilermakers at home. What is the biggest takeaway you guys have from that Purdue game? Not a lot of concerns addressed, I feel, but let's see what you guys have to say. McKenna, let's start with you.
I definitely think that was our best showing, objectively. Like, first win.
Well, a win is a win.
A win is a win. A win against Purdue is still a win. I think that we were really able to lock in this week on the run game. That was definitely our best. Our offense has been good, okay? We've been consistent with offense, right? But I think run game we were really able to shine through this week. We had Jeremiah Love with 157 yards rushing on 19 carries, and he had a scoring run of 46 yards. I do think that the real star this past weekend though was Jadarian Price. 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown and 3 rushing touchdowns. I don't think he's getting mentioned enough on the offense, and I think that against an SEC defense, he might be able to shine through here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach?
I mean, I totally agree. I think that the running game was definitely the highlight of that game. I think that proved that Notre Dame might have the best 1-2 combo in the backfield in the country. However, my biggest takeaway from that game is how comfortable C.J. Carr looks in that offense. Coming into the season, there was a big question. Who was going to be the starter? C.J. Carr ended up winning that job, and I think that this last game against Purdue solidified that choice in my eyes. He posted a PFF rating of 93.4, which is the highest for a Notre Dame quarterback since the rating was introduced for quarterbacks in 2014. Highest rating for a Notre Dame quarterback. Incredible. Was it against a Purdue defense that is not the best? Yes. However, he showed off some crazy long balls, something that a Notre Dame quarterback hasn't showed off in a good while, especially on that first touchdown of 66 yards to Malachi Fields. Lots to look forward to with C.J. Carr.
Yeah, you know, might not be the best defense you play, but if you don't do it against those defenses, you're not going to do it at all.
Exactly.
But the big concern of the weekend is still that Notre Dame defense. The Irish give up 30 points to Purdue at home after giving up 41 to A&M at home. There seem to be quite a few holes here, guys. Zach, let's start with you on the defensive side of things. How concerned are we?
I'm concerned. It's no secret this defense has looked mediocre at its very best. However, I'm not in a full panic mode yet.
Okay.
Against Purdue, there were some flashes of good. There were some. We finally got some sacks. Dallas Golden had an interception, showing some hope for the future. Also, this Notre Dame defense just last year was one of the top units in the country. Did they lose Al Golden as the coordinator? Yes. However, I think that with a couple of weeks, they're going to get back into the swing of things. They're going to pick up where they left off last year, and they're going to figure out their defensive identity. I have faith in this defense. I don't think it's over just yet.
McKenna?
I would definitely say I'm a little more concerned. In the post-game press conference, Barry Odom said, "I thought our offense gave us a chance to win." Your opposing coach shouldn't be saying that post-game. Let's be so for real here. Yes, we did lose depth in Al Golden and depth in our defensive line.
Players,
Xavier Watts, Ben Morrison, Riley Mills, Jack Kaiser, all captains, all seniors. But we shouldn't be this bad. We're Notre Dame football. What's going on? Purdue got 20 first downs as opposed to our 26, and we still beat them by a lot.
Oh yeah.
So why are they having all these scoring drives? I'm very concerned, especially against an Arkansas offense, which is the best offense we've seen. And if we can't pull it together against Miami and A&M, I don't know how we're going to be able to do it away at Arkansas.
And McKenna, you hinted at it right there. The Arkansas offense, very high flying, and that's where we're going next. But first, we're going to take a very quick break, and we'll be right back here on Shamrock Sports.
No ball? Let the seasoned ball knowers at Shamrock Sports get you up to date on all things ball around Notre Dame. Shamrock Sports airs 3:30 p.m. every Friday right here on NDTV. Go Irish. Welcome
Welcome back to Shamrock Sports here. Now we're going to turn to the biggest question heading into this weekend, this Arkansas offense, top 20 in the nation in points per game, passing yards per game, rushing yards per game. This is a high-flying team that is going to pose quite a challenge for the Notre Dame defense here. So how concerned are you guys for the Razorback offense? McKenna?
As I said before the break,
Yes.
I'm pretty concerned.
Yeah.
Arkansas is literally one of the best offenses we're gonna play. They're 2-2. Their losses are to Ole Miss and Memphis. They lost to Ole Miss by 6 on the road. Memphis, they lost by 1. And Memphis, like, you think, okay, group of 5, not very good. They have the highest odds to make the playoffs out of any group of 5 team. I don't think we're concerned enough. Apparently, Marcus Freeman said that the Sunday defensive staff meeting wasn't comfortable and he didn't want it to be comfortable. But he insisted the issues were about execution and fundamentals, not Chris Ash's play calling, which we have a pretty experienced defensive line. Like, yes, we have new players, but they're not freshmen. They've been around before. Like, we shouldn't be making fundamental mistakes or execution mistakes. I really think it's Chris Ash's play calling, and I don't think that that's going to hold up against the defensive offense.
Yeah, I agree. This offense is terrifying.
Green from the pocket, unloads and wide open in the middle.
Especially when it comes to pass rush and pressure. And just like we saw with Marcel Reed in the A&M game, a mobile quarterback like Taylon Green could kill this defense. The Notre Dame defense has put up absolutely no pressure, 3 sacks through 3 games, unacceptable. And if the front 7 does not step up, Taylon Green is going to demolish this defense. I'm terrified. I think all Irish fans should be terrified. This is going to be a crazy game.
Yeah, this is a team that scores 40 a game at home down in the SEC, an environment that the Irish rarely play in on the road at an SEC school. The kickoff, though, is 11 a.m. local time, noon Eastern. How much of a factor is that environment going to be tomorrow? Something that Notre Dame is not used to. Never has a home game that's at noon. Never is in the SEC. What do we think about that?
I'm worried about the fact that it's at the SEC.
Right.
We don't have a lot of experience in that.
Yeah.
Last year against A&M was a very close game, and I think, frankly, we had a better team last year. So putting that in this context of this team going down to the SEC, you know, Sam Pittman is on the hot seat. Arkansas has been really middle of the pack the last few years. This is the best roster they've had in a while. They're really looking to break out, and this is the game that they do that at. They do that against a top 25 ranked team like Notre Dame. I think that the environment of the SEC, you know, the big stadium, the loud, rowdy fans, is not something Notre Dame has a lot of experience in, especially with a sophomore quarterback, and I'm very concerned about that aspect of it.
Zach?
Thanks,
I
guys.
agree.
Ryan
I mean,
Murphy
this
here
is the
with Tyler
first
Reedy.
time
We're in our
that the
traveling
Notre Dame
suits
Fighting
because
Irish
we're
are
about
playing
to take
in
off
Arkansas.
just after this
So
to head down.
not only is this an unfamiliar atmosphere, it's something they have never experienced before. This is the first SEC opponent away that we are playing, that the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are going to be playing. So I think that the environment is going to be something to watch. It's going to be in the 80s. It's going to be hot out there. The crowd's going to be crazy. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this offense adapts to this crowd. False starts could be an issue. I think if the Fighting Irish want to come away with a win, they're going to have to adapt, and they're going to have to get used to a loud crowd.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw something in there. The kicking side of things is going to be really tough with the Irish
Thanks, guys.
having
Ryan
their
Murphy here with
troubles
Tyler
on the
Reedy.
kicking
We're
side
in
of
our
things. You know,
traveling
another
suits
injured
because
kicker
we're
this
about to take
season,
off.
or it could be, you know, your roommate getting in the
Our
mix
roommate,
a little
Eric
bit
Schmidt.
there, too. So
Rookie, we'll see.
That's going to be tough to watch as well. The environment definitely going to be a factor, but let's hear from 2 guys that are going to be down there in the nitty-gritty, live and in person. Ryan Murphy and Tyler Reedy are on the call for WFI Sports down there tomorrow. Let's hear what they have to say.
Thanks, guys. Ryan Murphy here with Tyler Reedy. We're in our traveling suits because we're about to take off just after this to head down to Arkansas for the big game tomorrow. Tyler, one thing that we've had our eyes on, Arkansas in high-scoring games, which we're expecting tomorrow, not so great.
Yeah, not just high-scoring games, but close games as well. Arkansas 7-19 in its last 26 one-score games. Also, since the start of 2023, the Razorbacks have lost 6 games in which they have scored 30 points or more. That is tied for the most in FBS. So the game we're expecting tomorrow, the type of game we're expecting tomorrow between Notre Dame and Arkansas, is the type of game that Arkansas usually does not win. So if you're looking for something that favors Notre Dame, that could be it. But on the flip side of it, the Irish have their own problems to address. We'll talk about the defense, but kicking too, that's still a major question mark. We saw Eric Schmidt, the freshman, getting his first looks last week. Didn't look great, missed his only field goal attempt, and so if this is a close game, who knows what we're going to see. Notre Dame's got some star power on offense, but if they can't kick, who knows where this ends up.
Yeah, the other star power that I think everyone's concerned about on the Notre Dame side, and we're right with them, is Taylor Green. He's leading all quarterbacks in rushing yards in FBS right now. Certainly looking like a threat the Irish will have to contain.
Yeah, certainly. We've seen it before with Marcel Reed, a dual threat guy. He didn't even really need to run with Texas A&M a couple weeks ago. Notre Dame just gave him so much in terms of openings through the air. He didn't take off really until that last drive in the fourth quarter to move into the red zone. But Taylor Green, we're expecting him to run a lot more. I mean, this guy might just be Arkansas's best rusher. And they've got a couple of really capable, solid running backs as well. So Green is somebody that Notre Dame is going to have to contain. A lot of pressure on the linebackers like Drake Bowen, Jalen Sneed and company to make sound open field plays, and the D-line, of course, to generate pressure.
Right, and one thing we're looking forward to as guys go into the game is the environment. Are you concerned about it all for the Irish? I know the weather shouldn't be all too bad, or what has been cracked up to be in SEC country in the past.
Yeah, the temperature shouldn't be any different from your typical September afternoon game. It might reach 80 degrees. It'll be sunny, so I mean that'll be beating down. But 11 a.m. local time is the thing for me. I mean, how often do you walk into that? It's not quite what USC is dealing with this weekend, where last week they played at 9 local time or whatever it was, and now they're at 8 a.m. local time on the East Coast. But yeah, no, for Notre Dame, morning kickoff, this environment is going to be raucous. We know that, but it was interesting. Ty Washington, the former Arkansas tight end, who's now with Notre Dame as their secondary tight end, mentioned that, well, if you start fast and you get them on their heels early, the crowd can really be taken out of it. So I think we saw that when Alabama was there a few years ago for an afternoon game kind of like that. So Notre Dame has got to get off to that good start in the first quarter, take the crowd out of it.
Absolutely. 11 a.m. local, but a noon kickoff here in the Eastern time zone for Notre Dame and Arkansas tomorrow. Tyler Reedy, Ryan Murphy. We're headed down there now. Excited to be there. Now sending it back to the guys on the desk.
Welcome back to Shamrock Sports. Now joined by Ethan Laszlo here, and we're bringing it up to the telestrator. Always fun. You know, I've never been on this side of the telestrator, Ethan. I've always been in your position with the iPad in hand. I'm excited to just sit back, relax, watch you break down some plays, help the viewers out, help them understand what's going on here.
So today we're going to be taking a look.
Please.
You know, Texas A&M brought in Marcel Reed.
Yes.
Bit of a mobile quarterback. This week, though,
Certainly.
the Irish have to deal with Taylor Green.
Yes.
The Arkansas quarterback leads the nation in all-purpose yards by a quarterback. So let's take a look, break down some film, compare Marcel Reed, Taylor Green. So we're going to start off with some Marcel Reed film. So first off, you see here, he's lined up in the shotgun, drops back to pass. He's going to get some pressure here, right? What's he going to do? He's going to sense that pressure, and he's going to roll out to his right. All right, so you see that. He rolls out to his right. And what's he got? He's got a receiver right here with about 3 to 4 yards of separation between him and the defender. If he catches this ball, he's up the sideline, but Marcel Reed misses the throw. Didn't show much else throwing on the run after this point. So, up next, we've got Marcel Reed again. This time, I'm going to slow it down a little bit for you, Ben. All right.
Please.
So we've got him kind of showing that he can adjust himself in the pocket. So you see here, he steps up in the pocket when he sees the pressure starting to come. Again, though, he sees this coming back up underneath, steps back in the pocket. Now he's got 2 guys trying to come around his offensive lineman and get to him from behind. So what does he do? He steps up in the pocket. And when he does, he finds himself with 1, 2, and eventually 3 guys with a shot at him. But instead, he sets his feet and delivers a strike to his receiver for a first down and puts the Aggies in scoring position. Now, let's take a look at Taylor Green.
Yes.
The Arkansas quarterback, like I said, leads the nation in all-purpose yards. He's a threat on the ground and through the air. So, first off, Taylor Green drops back to pass. He looks. There's nobody home, putting it simply. So he takes a couple steps to his right. Again, he sees nobody. His offensive line is kind of starting to get away from him. He's got guys coming, and what does he do? He makes something happen, Ben.
Yeah.
He takes himself, rolls the other way around, and goes up the sideline. And I just want to highlight this work by the Arkansas receiver. This is great. Blocking down the field and clearing the way for his quarterback to come down the sideline and get a crucial first down for the Razorbacks as they look to tie the game at the end of the first half. And on the very same drive, the Razorbacks find themselves at 3rd and 10. So what do? They once again turn to the legs of Taylor Green. Now, Keep this formation in mind. A trips formation with the running back to the weak side. The Irish are going to see a lot of this Saturday. Why? Because they love the read option out of this formation. Taylor Green, he's got his running back. He's looking to run a sweep concept. He's got this end. He's reading the end. If he comes up for the running back, Taylor Green is taking this up the chute. And what happens on this play? The end comes up for the running back. Taylor Green runs right up the chute. Here he goes. And when he gets to this point, he's got 4 blockers for him, Ben. And he ends up bringing the Razorbacks all the way to the 5-yard line, including 5 yards after contact, which, again, gets them a crucial first down. And one last play for you, which shows his arm talent off a little bit more.
Yeah.
He drops back
in the legs.
Yeah, he drops back in to pass. And he sees his center getting absolutely blown up by the nose tackle. So what does he do? As soon as that nose tackle gets his hand up, Taylor Green adjusts himself and gets up into the pocket. And once again, much like Marcel Reed, delivers an absolute strike to his receiver. But I want to really highlight this throw. As you can see here, this defensive back is all over the Arkansas wide receiver.
Yeah,
but Taylor Green is able to make this throw in the absolutely perfect spot and once again get a first down for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Ben, to put it simply, I'm concerned about Taylor Green this week against the Fighting Irish.
Yeah.
The defense has shown a lot of holes over their first 3 games. And going against arguably the best quarterback in the country so far, there is an absolute threat for the Notre Dame defense.
Yeah, I mean, you showed those Marcel Reed clips. That was a team that hung 41 on the Irish in the Cathedral of College football at home. They're going on the road to face arguably a better guy who's doing everything Marcel Reed's doing, but a little bit more, again, in Taylor Green. So definitely something to be a little bit wary of if you're an Irish fan on Saturday.
For sure.
But, Ethan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ben.
You know, we know you got to run. You're getting out of here. You're getting out of town. But we are going to throw it to Mr. Kean Bagenstos for some sleeper teams in college football this year. Ethan, thank you so much.
Kean, let's see what you got.
With all the focus on the big dogs like OSU or Oregon, it is easy for sleeper teams to slip through the cracks of the top 25. Today, we're going to shine a big light on some of these sleepers. First up, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. This year, the Yellow Jackets are 4-0 and enter Week 5 at number 16 in the polls. This is significant as Georgia Tech has not eclipsed 7 wins since 2016, where they went 9-4 and beat Kentucky in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Georgia Tech entered the top 25 2 weeks ago after a 24-21 upset win at number 12 Clemson. But despite this, I do not think Georgia Tech is legit because while Clemson historically is a big powerhouse, this year they are obviously in a down year as they only beat Troy by 11 points and they lost by 2 scores to Syracuse, who is by no means a top 25 team. Just have to look at their performance against Tennessee in Week 1. Also, Georgia Tech barely beat Colorado, who is obviously in a down year after losing Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and Shiloh Sanders. A couple weeks ago, the Buffaloes lost by 16 points to a Houston team that has had 2 straight 4-win seasons. If Georgia Tech wants to prove me wrong, they'll have to wait until rivalry week, the last week of the season, as right now, their only ranked opponent on their schedule is Georgia. Just like Georgia Tech, our second team on the list, Texas Tech, not familiar with rankings, as they have not finished inside top 25 since 2009. That year, in Mike Leach's 10th season, the Red Raiders finished number 21 in the AP poll and beat Michigan State 41-31 in the Alamo Bowl. This year, the Red Raiders might finally turn the tide as the Red Raiders are coming into Week 5 with a 4-0 record and are ranked number 12. And last week was their signature win as they beat number 16 Utah by 24 points in their house. Now, Texas Tech just beat number 16 Utah by 24 points in their house. It should be an easy yes to the question, are they legit? Well, I think it's a little complicated. Why? Contrary to most, I am not that high on Utah, as ever since Cam Rising left, Utah has been on a downward spiral. They won 8 games in 2023, and then last year, only 5 games. And besides Utah, Texas Tech has not played anyone prominent. Besides Utah, the best team they have played is Oregon State. However, Texas Tech has 3 chances to prove me wrong, as later in the season, they will play number 25 BYU and fringe top 25 teams Arizona State and UCF. Our third team on the list is the Indiana Hoosiers, the Cinderella team from last year, going 11-2 and going all the way to the first round of the playoffs before losing their slipper at the snowy Notre Dame Stadium. But this year, Cinderella is back and better than ever as Indiana is entering Week 5 with a 4-0 record, number 11 ranking, and just got off of a 63-10 dismantling of number 9 Illinois. So where do you place the Hoosiers? Well, last week proved that they belong in the top 15. But before we call them a top 10 team, they need to actually be a top 10 team. I love Coach Sig, but last year against top 10 teams, OSU and ND, they lost by 23 points in Columbus and 10 points in South Bend. So Indiana has taken big steps, but to be a big dog, they need to be a big dog. They have 2 chances this year. Oregon and Penn State beat at least one of them, which is possible with the way they played against Illinois, and I will call them a top 10 team. And then best for last, ND's rival USC this year. They're out to a hot 4-0 start and a respectable number 21 in the AP poll. In terms of Notre Dame fans, this team is the most critical team that we're going to cover in this segment, as they are a current ranked team. They're on ND's schedule, and ND desperately needs a ranked win to have a CFP-worthy resume. To get this ranked win against USC, USC must be ranked when they play ND in 3 weeks' time. Before ND, USC will play number 23 Illinois and number 19 Michigan. And after the drubbing last week, Illinois definitely beatable, no question. Michigan, however, not as beatable as Illinois. It's a little more up in the air, but Michigan has also had their struggles this year, as they barely beat Nebraska, a team that has not had a ranked win in 10 years. And then Michigan, when the lights were really bright and they're playing a ranked team, lost by 11. Bryce Underwood, obviously lost his dog, as against the big fella Oklahoma, he only had 9 completions, and the offense could not do anything as they were shut out in every quarter but the third. So overall, it is very probable that once USC comes into Notre Dame Stadium, they will be coming in as a ranked team, and ND will have a golden opportunity to get that ranked win that is so needed to make the playoffs. So for the next 2 weeks, we are going to have to be USC fans. And with that, back to you, ND fellas, in the studio.
Welcome back to Shamrock Sports. Now joined by Mr. Leo Romano, hops in for Little Sham Bookie, everybody's favorite time of the episode. I was going to say year, but it's not really a season. Leo, I hear that you and Trey Cody are 11-0 on your bookie picks this season?
That's right, 11-0 with Michigan State covering plus 17.5 last week in LA for a Big Ten after dark. Yeah. Words I never thought I'd say.
Yeah, Big Ten after dark in LA, right. But Leo, you're going to kick us off here today, right now. Let's try and make it 12-0.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a lot of good games this weekend. Georgia plays Alabama. Penn State plays Oregon.
Big weekend.
But my eyes are on the SEC on CBS at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's a game between the LSU Tigers and the Ole Miss Rebels. I love Ole Miss in this one, covering 1.5 earlier this week. I believe Landry Kiffin hard-launched a relationship with LSU linebacker.
All over my TikTok.
That was
all over my TikTok.
That was all over my For You page as well. And right after that, you know who said to take the over? Lane Kiffin. So I'm going to ride with Lane Kiffin. Give me -1.5. LSU is going to lose. And you know what? It's a bonus to see Brian Kelly lose.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Always,
Fingers crossed.
Always
Fingers
a plus. Well, the streak will continue with that one right there. My pick this week It's, maybe it's a bit of a vibes play. I hate saying the vibes play because it just means it's a bad pick. But no, NC State has Virginia Tech at home, and the spread is minus 10.5 now. It moved a little bit. I think NC State covers. I think NC State wins this game by 2 touchdowns. This is a Virginia Tech team that is very banged up. They got their first win of the season against Wofford last week, including a loss to Old Dominion earlier. They're kind of shaky. And then the NC State, side of things, they're a good team. CJ Bailey, his top 20 in QBR this season. They're throwing the ball, they're moving the ball well. I like it. They took their first loss at Duke last week, and they're looking to bounce back at home with a big game. I like them, and they're coming into town later in the season. I think the Irish are going to see a good NC State team. Give me them to cover there.
Yeah,
McKenna.
Kind of a crazy take, being from the Triangle. I'm really packed down.
You say that like I know what the Triangle is.
Going off of that point, I do think it's no secret that Notre Dame is not the only football team I root for. My pick, though, is against the Duke Blue Devils this week. I think Syracuse is going to cover.
Yeah.
I really think Duke is still going to win. I just think it's going to be by a field goal.
Okay.
They're at Syracuse. Syracuse beats Clemson.
Yeah.
Steven Jelly is hurt, but he got hurt really early in the Clemson game. I really want Duke to keep on going with that momentum they had in that NC State victory.
Sure.
But considering how they played against Illinois and Tulane, I'm not that confident. I'm very sorry to all of my Durham friends and family, but I do think that Syracuse is gonna
It's a respectful pick. It's a very respectful pick.
Go Blue Devils.
Tough week for Duke on the show. I picked NC State. Anyway, Zach, take us home here.
Yeah, I'm going over to a game that might have huge implications for the Notre Dame football team. I'm going to USC at Illinois.
Bang.
As an Irish fan, I find it pretty hard to root for USC, but we have to in this game. We have to root for USC. Even though it's an away game for them after the thrashing we saw with the IU-Illinois game, you can't pick Illinois in this game. Give me the USC money line.
Wow.
Help the Irish out in the process.
This guy, I love it, dude.
A fire new pick from Zach. But first, we're going to take a little break before our personal game picks for Notre Dame, Arkansas. Andy Lopez and Molly Robson have your Friday headlines right now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Molly.
And I'm Andy, and we're here with your Friday headlines.
On Saturday, the 5-1 men's soccer team will take on SMU at 7 p.m. here in Alumni Stadium for their 4th straight home game. This comes after their 3-2 win over Wright State Tuesday evening at their Pups on the Pitch game. On a similar note, after this Wednesday's match against the Tar Heels, our highly ranked women's soccer team remains undefeated. And next they will be taking on Clemson over in South Carolina at 6 p.m. on Sunday. Be sure to tune in for what will be an entertaining ACC matchup.
As the ITA All-Americans tournament continues through Sunday for both our women's and men's tennis teams, the men's tennis team, beginning today, will be hosting the Fighting Irish Invitational as the 4th tournament in their schedule. This tournament will also continue on through Sunday, so be sure to support our men's tennis team throughout the weekend. On a different note, our Fighting Irish baseball team will play an exhibition game on Sunday against the Xavier Musketeers at noon in Mason, Ohio. While this game may be a part of their fall ball schedule, it is their first game of the year.
Also on Sunday, the women's golf team, after tying in 8th place overall at their 2nd tournament of the season, the Inverness Intercollegiate, will move on to host the Women's Fighting Irish Classic at the Warren Golf Course. Meanwhile, over in Lake Forest, Illinois, the men's golf team will be participating in the Wyndon Memorial Classic on Monday and Tuesday of this coming week.
Last but certainly not least, the Fighting Irish volleyball team is playing Syracuse at 6:30 at Purcell Pavilion, hoping to bounce back from a loss to a highly skilled Michigan. The volleyball team will also be playing BC this Sunday at 1 p.m. in Purcell, but make sure to get there early because the first 250 people will arrive to get a limited edition poster. You can also stay after the game to get your poster signed by the players featured on it.
That's all from us. Be sure to go support our incredible athletes. Now back to you, Ben.
Andy and Molly, thank you guys so much for the Friday headlines, but now it's time. The main event, our own game picks for Notre Dame at Arkansas, noon tomorrow. Leo, let's start with you.
Yeah, look, I like to think of myself as a very optimistic guy, very optimistic, right? But this week, my glass is half empty.
Wow.
I don't think Notre Dame is going to win. I'm going to be the villain today.
Yeah.
I picked against the Irish when they played Texas A&M as well, so I have them going. It did work out. Yeah. I have them then going, 0-2 against SEC this year. Give me Arkansas 38-31. Taylor Green in that offense, as we mentioned earlier in today's show, is just going to be too good. And as long as Chris Ash is calling the defensive plays, I don't see the offense being able to pick up for their slack.
So we start on a low note. Leo, how could you? I'm kidding. I was actually thinking about maybe taking them, but once I saw he had already said he was going to, I'm going to take the Irish here. So give me the Irish 41-35. This is the test right here. This is the biggest game right now is can this team make a run, win 10 in a row, make this playoff, or are they going to have 4 or 5 losses? So the Irish,
not that many.
Yeah, so I'll say the Irish win 41-35, but that is a tentative confidence. McKenna?
I would like to think I'm a little more confident than these two.
Okay, good.
I definitely
We need that on the show right now.
It didn't sound like that, though, earlier today.
Well, okay, I have a lot of faith in Notre Dame's offense.
Okay. All right,
I think that our run game, our quarterback, I really think we're going to do good on the offensive side.
Okay.
I also think Arkansas's offense is going to do good. So give me the Irish 45-41. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. I think lots of touchdowns, lots of touchdown push-ups if anyone's traveling down to Fayetteville. It's very high-scoring. Our defense is bad. Hopefully Arkansas's defense is also bad.
It is bad.
All right,
Yeah, so
McKenna, we're winning in the Irish winning a shootout, I guess, is McKenna's quote there. All right, Zach.
As much as Arkansas scares me, we got to end off the show with a positive note.
Right.
I'm going to be picking the Irish in this game. I think it's going to be 35-31. It's going to be a nail biter. I know I'm going to be sweating. All the Irish fans are going to be sweating. This is the season on the line, but I think CJ Carr and the offense get it done in a game-winning drive. Heard it here first.
That would be fun.
Win.
We haven't had one of those yet.
Exactly.
Against us, usually.
And Zach, if the Irish lose, are you gonna?
If the Irish lose this game, you will see me in St. Mary's Lake. That is a promise.
He said he was going to say that, and I wasn't going to let him get away with not saying it, so I had to tee it up.
There we go.
But this is like the least optimistic Shamrock Sports ending in a while. I feel like even with A&M and Miami, the picks were generally like, the Irish got it. So this is going to be an interesting one down in Fayetteville tomorrow at noon. Huge game for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Thank you so much for joining us on another edition of Shamrock Sports here. Thank you to Leo, Zach, McKenna, Ethan, Andy, Molly, Kian, Tyler and Ryan, everyone, thank you so much. Everyone that's in front of the camera, behind the camera, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a great show. Hopefully the Irish have a great weekend. We'll see what happens. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Same time, same place next week. Go Irish.